Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were discussing the Dallas Cowboys and their free agents. And now we're going to be diving into some of our oddities of the day. We've got, I've picked some interesting stories today. I did my hard work yesterday.
She put a little blood, sweat, and tears out
I
there
did.
today
I was
for
hard
us.
at work yesterday. So our first one is Japan's Naked Man Festival ends after more than 1,000 years.
Okay. You
An
know,
annual event commonly known as the Naked Man Festival came to an end after nearly 1,000 years due to the declining population in the area. The Somni Sai Festival, commonly known as the Naked Man Festival, involves hundreds of loincloth-clad men gathering at the Kokoshichu temple in Oshu to wrestle for ownership of a bag of talisman blessed by the temple's chief priest. The festival, which dates back for more than 1,000 years, is held annually on the seventh day of the Lunar New Year. Daigo Fujinami, chief priest of the gosh.
all I'm saying is you picked the one with the Japanese
I know
names.
I
I'm just
did.
going to point that out to you.
Chief priest of the temple announced that this year's festival, which was held Saturday, was the facility's last. They said the decision is due to the aging of individuals involved in the festival and a shortage of successors. While efforts were made to continue the festival to the best of our abilities in order to prevent last-minute cancellations or disruptions in the future, the decision is to cancel the festival itself has been made. This year's winner was a local resident who is a member of the festival's preservation association. They said, "It is sad that the festival is ending. I participated in hopes that it would be a memorable festival."
Okay. One thing, again, I know a lot about Japan and some of these areas, they have a very old population.
Mm-hmm.
They have a very older but vigorous population. And one of the big problems that they're having in Japan is their population is an aging population. And so some of these festivals you're talking about, monks and priests and all this stuff. This is not the festival you think it is, Faith. It is not the festival of naked men with six-pack abs.
No, I know that.
this is this is the festival of man boobs and saggy butts. I'm sorry. And so I don't really see these guys as the most, you know, fit, vigorous group of men. So this is not the festival. This is not the festival down at Daytona Beach or any of your spring break festival. This is the old man wrestling festival. Um, that doesn't surprise me that this is kind of going on. This is not like Groundhog Day where you're like you want to go see Pachitani Phil. You know what? You can go to that festival. Matter of fact, we'll send you on that as an assignment so you can check out the Naked Man Festival and report on it.
I'm okay, really. That's all right. It's over, so.
Yes, yeah, it's over. Japan's a fascinating place.
Mm-hmm.
I love Japan. Um, Many years ago, I was supposed to move to Japan. Still bitter with my family right to this day because I had worked out a situation to move to Japan, and it was only a few weeks before I'm supposed to fly out, and then my whole family had a full-on intervention to stop me from moving to Japan, and so I never moved to Japan.
Intervention.
Yes, they were all worried. You know, a lot of black families don't like to travel outside the US. They like to stay home. And so the whole concept of my parents, their pride and joy son moving to another country was just very, very bizarre. Hence, I still ended up moving to another country.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was supposed to move to Japan. And so I know a lot about the Japanese culture. Have always been fascinated with the Japanese culture. An amazing, amazing place. But there are a lot of these type of festivals that have been going on for years and years. But the population has many of the cities. The population has gotten so much older that some of these festivals are being canceled, and or they don't have enough people to participate in some of these festivals that are 100, 200 years old. And so it's kind of a shame. It's a compliment to the society because the Japanese are the people who live the longest, which is kind of cool. But it's also sad that it's a country with a majorly, you know, a population that is definitely aging, and some of the more remote farm type fishing village, the young, they're packing up, they're moving to Tokyo, they're moving to the big cities, and so a lot of these old time villages that are in parts of Japan, they just have an old population. Same, Italy's a lot that way as well, where there's a lot of places where the population is has gotten old. So much so in Italy that there are places and towns that will pay you to move there right now. They'll hook you up with a place to stay and cash if you move there. So, which is kind of different. Faith is looking
I'll
at me
have
like,
to look into
okay.
that.
What do you think about moving to Italy?
Yeah.
Italy's nice, but no, there are parts that will pay you to move to Italy. That is dead truth.
I will say though, this is kind of sad because this is something that's been going on for almost 1,000 years, and they're having to cancel it and not do it anymore because nobody's doing it. It's
Right.
so sad.
It's like I said, it's because in these villages, the young people are moving out. It's the same here, like in Portugal. Um, I used to have an assistant that used to work for me, and he was talking about how it was really hard. He's really in shape guy, good looking guy, super sharp witted, everything. And he would talk about how it's hard to find uh, a spouse or significant other that is Portuguese in the area because a lot of the young ladies, once they get a certain age, they've been moving out of the area. Well, that happens in Japan, Italy, and a lot of places as well, where it's just like the young is not staying in the small fishing villages anymore and all the little farming communities. They're moving to the big city where there's more opportunities. And so, it's kind of like that. Even you like take Georgia, for instance. You go to some of these little formerly farming villages, that farming towns and cities, they're struggling as well because the young are not staying in these places. They're moving. They're like, forget this. I'm moving to Atlanta. Yeah,
Not
maybe,
where I'm
maybe
from.
not my girl Faith. But see, you also live in a little bit more affluent, more nicer community. But if you start going to some of those really rural areas of Georgia and Alabama, the young is like, get me the heck out of here.
See, I experienced the opposite because, like, I grew up where I live now is not where I grew up. And I grew up in a very, like, small rural town in Georgia. And
Hmm.
a lot of people stay there, not a lot of people move. That's what I've experienced in, like, small
Interesting.
rural towns. They
And see,
stay.
I have friends of mine and family members that live in that southern part of Alabama, which is on closer to in Georgia, and places that I grew up going to as a kid, you can't find any of the kids that you used to play with as a kid because they've moved.
Mm-hmm.
They've moved to Atlanta. They've moved, you know, even in Alabama, a lot of those places, those little communities, they've all packed up and moved. But it is really prevalent in places like Japan and Italy and things of that nature where people are moving to the major cities.
Mm-hmm.
There's just way more opportunities for a person, who's trying to make it in life,
Well,
than to stay in a.
I think
Mhm.
another reason why is because a lot of people in like my generation aren't having kids. Like not a lot of people are having children anymore, and I think that's a big part of it as well.
Yes, oh yes, that is definitely, that's something that the US is dealing with. That's the U that Europe is dealing with. Gone are the days when you're like in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s where it's like, oh, Ethel May had 9 kids. I'm one of 8 kids. I'm one of 7 kids. You've heard these stories, right?
Yeah.
And now it's like we had one kid and we stopped. How many how many families do you know had 5, 6, 7, 8 kids?
Um, Not a lot.
Not a lot.
I mean, like
Like,
my grandparents, my great grandmother, I believe she either had 4 or 5 kids, I think.
my dad is, I think it's 9 brothers and sisters for him. That's unreal. 9?
Uh-uh.
Look at you.
No.
See, you
I don't
can't
even
even
want
fathom
one.
that.
I don't want any children. So 9 is just like, ooh.
I remember I'm a big MMA guy. I used to train MMA and all this stuff. And the Gracie family, they had so many kids that I remember they were saying like they ended up losing one and didn't even realize he was gone. He had just packed up and moved with like a cousin or an aunt. He was gone forever before they even found out he was gone. And they were like, okay, go ahead and stay. It's like there's so many damn kids that you lost a kid and didn't even realize the kid was gone.
Yeah.
Or you just gave one away. Imagine that. That is not today's world. You one, two. If you see someone with 3 kids, it's kind of like, ooh,
Yeah.
little Timmy was an accident. That was not little Timmy was not planned.
That's me.
Hey, just like right here. Oh, you
I
know
was
what
the
I mean?
accident.
there was there was some easy listening on the radio and too much booze or something, but there's something. That's 3. Now think back, back then, 5, 6, 7 kids, that wasn't so strange back then.
Hmm.
That's gone away. And in places,
I
like I
will
said,
say,
hmm
a lot of the people that I graduated high school with are like having babies now, and it's just like they're just like popping them out too.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, it is. Isn't it weird when you start seeing your friends? I'm going to tell you what's going to mess you up, Faith. First off, take care of yourself, girl. Moisturize, moisturize,
Oh,
moisturize.
no, no, because I have
Oh,
something to say about that. I grew up in a small southern town, and all
uh-oh.
these girls used to make fun of me because I wouldn't lay out in the sun and tan, and I wouldn't go get in the tanning bed, and they would make fun of how
Testify, sister.
pasty
Testify.
white I am. And now it's like I don't have any wrinkles on my face, and some of the
Yep.
girls that I went to school with are starting to get wrinkles on their face, and they're in their 20s. And it's like, who's laughing now? That's why I wore
Faith,
sunscreen.
Faith, you ain't even seen it all. I have a class reunion coming up. I think it's like my 35th. I think it's like my 35th or something like that. I'm afraid to go. I'm afraid to go. Do you know why?
Why?
Because some of my classmates look so bad, I don't know who they are. And so, like, I went home a few years ago, and I went to this bar that has been popular in my town. I didn't really want to go to the bar, but it was this girl. She saw me and she was like, "Tate," and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And it's like, "I haven't seen you in years," and all this stuff. And I'm like, "Excuse me, who are you?" And she's like, I'm Becky."
It's me, Becky.
It's Becky. And her name wasn't Becky. I don't even know what her name was, but it was like, oh man, I don't even know who you are. I'm looking at her. I'm trying to figure out who Becky is, and then eventually she got mad. And she was like, maybe I shouldn't have effing remembered you. And I'm like, I feel so bad. There's been a few times on Facebook where there's like a guy and he's like, guy or a girl, and it's like, "Hey Tate, how's it going?" And then I look at their picture and I'm like, who the heck is this? Because they don't look the same. People, they don't look like they did. And you're gonna see more of that as you get older, as you keep moisturizing and staying out of that sun. You're gonna start seeing how many of your friends did not age as well as you did, and
Yeah,
that's
who's
that's
laughing at
hard.
Casper now?
I think we got issues going on here, sister. Don't be calling Faith no Casper.
I used to get picked on all the time for how like translucent white my skin was, and all my friends were like, "You need to like get in the tanning bed and everything like that." And I was like, "No, I'm gonna wear
Now
sunscreen
they're
like my
looking like
mama
Jimmy
told
Dean
me to."
sausages. Now they're looking rough. But I'm I'm leery about going to my class reunion, not because it's like I want to big time somebody or anything like it's no, it's like, man, I don't want to offend anyone. That breaks my heart to be like, oh, someone remembers you so fondly and they can't wait to see you. And then you see them and you have no clue who they are.
Yeah.
And you're looking at them, you're trying, and you like, nope, I have no clue who this person is.
Mm-hmm.
And they're happy to see you. That's you feel like a jerk in a way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, that is a hard thing. So,
Yeah.
all right. I don't mean to tell us to go on break, but we
We
got
need to
two
go on
stories.
break.
We got two stories to cover on the comeback.
Alrighty, guys. Well, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk some more about some oddities of the day.